On today's iLights, we will see how Jesus performed his first miracle when he met an important hospitality need, reflect on the meaning and practice of hospitality, and hopefully practice ways in which learners can demonstrate hospitality. Today's key verse reads, "A host always serves the best wine first," he said. "Then, when everyone has had a lot to drink, he brings out the less expensive wine. But you have kept the best until now." John chapter 2, verse 10, New Living Translation. Weddings were very important social events in biblical times. It is likely that most wedding feasts lasted 7 days, and though guests were expected to bring gifts, it was up to the host to provide enough food and drink for the entire feast. People normally drank only water or wine, as not much else was available. However, for a normal beverage, this juice or wine was sometimes watered down with a ratio of 2 to 3 parts water and 1 part wine. The master of the banquet was not necessarily the bridegroom or host, but a person in charge of making sure the wine was properly diluted. This person would also oversee the consumption of wine to prevent anyone from drinking to excess or becoming drunk. Still, the guest's sense of taste would likely be dulled after several days of feasting. So, the best wine was always served first at the beginning of the celebration, with the cheaper or more watered down wine being served at the end. If the supply of wine ran out before the feast was over, the master of the banquet would be held at least partly responsible for the embarrassing social blunder. To fail to offer proper hospitality to guests was a serious offense and would surely be remembered for years to come. John chapter 2 verse 3 provides a rare instance of direct discourse between Jesus and his mother. After several days of feasting, Jesus' mother Mary comes to Jesus to tell him that the host had run out of wine. She seemed to expect him to do something. Jesus responded to her, reminding her that his hour had not yet come. In the book of John, Jesus' hour or time refers to his crucifixion. Jesus knew that once he revealed himself, his death would be imminent. Jesus' terse response, where he calls his mother woman and suggests it's none of our business, might shock and offend many modern readers. But Jesus uses this address in other places. It is more like dear woman, like Abba is dear father. Jesus is understood to be saying that he will not allow even his mother to dictate his divine mandate. Only God sets the hour when Jesus' purpose will be revealed to the world. Rather than angrily responding, his mother instructs the servants to do whatever he tells them. Several scholars have understood her command to do as Jesus says as demonstrating what discipleship looks like. Though Mary asked Jesus to meet the need of their friends, Jesus chose to do so of his own accord. He instructed the servants to fill up the large stone pots with water. Jesus knew that using these pots for purposes other than ceremonially clean water would defile them, at least temporarily. Apparently, he chose to put his friends' needs over the demands of ritual. He tells them to take the contents to the governor. This master of the feast was responsible for seating arrangements, overseeing the courses, and tasting the food and drink. Jesus had performed a miracle that saved his friends from social embarrassment, but as Jesus' first sign, this event had much larger ramifications. Jesus always kept the end result of any action in mind. Throughout his time on earth, others sometimes asked or urged Jesus to do a specific thing or to go to a certain place, but because he had the hour in mind, he had to move on his own timetable. On the occasion of the wedding of Cana, Jesus knew that performing his first miracle would not only show his love for his friends, but reveal his glory and cause his disciples to believe on him. Here's our lesson. True hospitality is rooted in servanthood, opening your heart and home to others, that they might see the love of Jesus working through you. True hospitality is blessing others without expecting anything in return. Thanks so much for listening to iLights. May the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus.